Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
"Hey dude, you too must be from Marin."
Marin County's A-OK, from Tampa Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. Lieutenant Dylan and NW. Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
"Hey dude, you too must be from Marin."
Marin County's A-OK, from Tampa Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. Lieutenant Dylan and NW.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run, the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball here in Marin County. I am Duffy Ballard, and I want to let you know that the Run TMC podcast is supported by West End Nursery, The Hub, Batiste Rum, Nike San Domenico Camps and Jeff Staggs, and the North Bay Basketball Academy, and potentially by any number of other businesses out there. Reach out if you'd like to sponsor the Run TMC podcast. All right, today, Dave, this is our North Coast section preview. And as has been the case recently, we are scrambling to put this together. You and I are busy, and we have taken to a more voice memo format. And we do apologize to our listeners. There's less banter back and forth about iced coffee, hot coffee, all-star game format, that sort of thing. And a bit more nuts and bolts. But we do promise once our teams get eliminated, which could be sooner rather than later, Dave, we will be back to the normal format with increased banter and Kenya, the podcast dog, making appearances and all that fun stuff. So, Dave, what we're going to do is, as we did last year, we're going to run down the Marin teams in the North Coast section playoffs, and you're going to give us an overview of the girls, and then I'm going to come back and give us an overview of the boys, and then we have some submissions from our trusty correspondents. We'll hear about the Marin Catholic girls team from Coach Caden Korst. We'll hear about the San Rafael boys team from Steve Tornello. And we may hear, depending on whether I get a submission here in the near future, Dave, we may hear from friend of the podcast, Ethan Castle, with a breakdown of the boys' open division. And then after all that, I've prepared some constructive feedback for our friends at the North Coast Section Committee. That's going to be at the very end of the podcast. And if you don't like the flavor of sour grapes, then you perhaps can skip it. I do think, though, that there's some legitimate feedback worth considering. And I do trust that because this is the first year of the new format, there will be some changes for the better for next year. All right, Dave, take it away.
Good morning, Run TMC fans. Good morning, Duffy. This is your friend, Dave. I'm going to do a quick summary of the NCS seedings brackets on the girls' side and just talk about a few of the Marin teams that have some games here. It's Tuesday morning, February 18th. This is a fun week for us nerdy high school basketball fans. This is like March Madness. Sunday was Selection Sunday when the brackets came out around midday and the text traffic was robust. And then that was quickly followed by a bunch of huddle exchanges from coaches all around Northern California asking each other for video of their opponents, because we each basically some of us only had one day really to prepare and practice before our games. So I'll go through the brackets really quickly and highlight some of the interesting games and, of course, discuss the Marin teams that are in the mix. To start, we have the Open division. There are no Marin teams in the Open for boys or girls this year. On the girls' side, Acalanes is the 1 seed. They get a bye in the Open division. The 2 seed is San Ramon Valley. They also get a bye. 2 phenomenal teams. The rest of the Open is the 4 seed is Cardinal Newman and the 5 seed is Piedmont. They battle later this week at Cardinal Newman. And then Carondelet plays Salesian at Salesian High School also later in the week on Thursday night. Both those games are Thursday night. Those are all really good teams. And by the way, Redwood and Marin Catholic both battled against a lot of those teams this year. So shows you strength of schedule of some of our Marin friends. Moving on to Division 1, some activity here for Marin folks. First of all, Clayton Valley is the 1 seed. They get a bye. Dublin and Northgate are the 8 and 9. The 4 and 13 game is Eureka and Washington. Eureka, that's a high seed for Eureka. They're a very good team. My San Domenico team played them. Tony Butler's San Marin squad beat Eureka earlier in the year, but Eureka had a really good season, a lot of wins. 5 seed is California, also great season for them. They play the 12 seed Miramonte. 2 seed Bishop O'Dowd, my San Domenico team played them earlier in the year and were humbled. They play the 15 seed American. And now we get into some interesting, more local teams. So the 7 seed is San Marin. They play Alameda tonight at home in San Marin. The 10 seed is Alameda. And then on the bottom of the bracket, the 6 seed Redwood hosts Freedom, 11 seed, and Arcata, the 3 seed, hosts Montgomery, the 14 seed. So you have Redwood at the 6 and San Marin at the 7 for Division 1. I got to say, I'm a little surprised at Redwood's seed. I expected them to be higher. They've put together a phenomenal year, really good, really tough strength of schedule. They played everybody. They played Salesian, Acalanes. I mean, they were not afraid. And they put together a lot of wins. They obviously won the MCAL. This seems like a little bit of a low seed for them. And the unfortunate thing for Redwood is if they can get by Freedom tonight, then they got to go on the road for their second game. And it feels to me like Redwood kind of earned the right to have a couple home games. But it is what it is, as they say. San Marin, phenomenal season. Tony Butler's squad locking down teams defensively, put together a really impressive 1-loss record. So they earn themselves a 7 seed in Division 1. So it's kind of like my San Domenico squad last year. Your reward for a good season is you get thrust into a really tough bracket. But, Tony's team can compete with anybody. So will be fun to see how those teams do, rooting for our Marin folks. And if Tony can get by Alameda, then likely the next second round game will be at Bishop O'Dowd. Division 2, some local interest. First of all, Justin Siena, the 1 seed, another team that beat my San Domenico squad. Outstanding team this year. They are the 1 seed in Division 2. They get a bye. Reminder that teams can only move up or down 2 divisions from their base division. Justin Siena is a Division 4 school. Thus, they are limited to moving up to Division 2. I think Justin Siena is one of the top, 20 teams in North Coast section for sure. They play the winner of Lick Wilmerding and Pinole Valley, 2 really good teams and 2 really good coaches. Obviously, my San Domenico team knows Lick. We're in the league with them. We played them twice in the regular season. We beat them both times in 1-possession games, and then they beat us in the semifinals of our playoffs last week. And Pinole Valley, really good, and they have a big who I think is 6'4", 6'5", something like that. So that'll be an interesting matchup. The rest of Division 2, Marin Catholic, Healdsburg, McKinleyville, Heritage, and then some more local flavor. University is the 2 seed, well-deserved, phenomenal year for University. They play American Canyon at Kezar Pavilion in San Francisco. That's tomorrow night, the 19th. The 7 seed is Campolindo. They play Ukiah, the 10 seed. Marin Catholic, the 3 seed. Congratulations to KK and the MC team. That's well-deserved. They host Mount Diablo, the 14 seed. Actually, my San Domenico team played Mount Diablo in North Coast section last year. They're very good, very athletic, push pace, good shooters. They have a really good point guard. So that'll be a good test for KK and the MC team. And then Maria Carrillo, the 6 seed, plays Alhambra, the 11 seed. So if MC can get by Mount Diablo, they will face likely Maria Carrillo, but you never know, in the second round. That would be at Marin Catholic because they are the higher seed. And again, a University would play the winner of Campolindo, Ukiah, if University can get by American Canyon. Division 3, my San Domenico team, we are the 8 seed. We play Benicia tonight, the 9 seed. Benicia is very good. They're a big athletic team, Division 2 school that got moved down to D3. If we are able to win tonight at home, at San Domenico, then we would have to travel very far to play St. Bernard's up in Eureka in the second round. But let's take care of business tonight. Benicia is very tough, and it's an 8-9 game, so it's really a toss-up. Congratulations to Branson. They got the 4 seed in Division 3. They host Antioch at Novato High School tonight. The 5 seed is Doherty Valley. They play Pittsburgh. The 2 seed St. Mary's gets a bye. And then the rest of the bracket is there's no real Marin flavor. James Logan, Monte Vista, Middletown, Mount Eden, Fortuna, and Kelseyville. Division 4, we do have some Marin representation and North Bay representation. Encinal is the 1 seed. They get a bye. And then a good matchup to face Encinal is Santa Rosa, the 8 seed, against our friends at Archie Williams, the 9 seed. That's at Santa Rosa. Lewis Patrick, a good friend of mine, great coach at Santa Rosa. And obviously, Zach Wally and Archie Williams put together a great season. Congratulations to both these teams for making NCS. And that'll be a good 8-9 matchup. Novato is the 13 seed in Division 4. They go to play Rancho Cotati at Rancho Cotati tomorrow. Sonoma Valley, the 5 seed. Jan Thorpe, great coach. They play Kennedy, the 12 seed. Head Royce is the 2. They get a bye. And then Kelly Thomas, our friends at Marin Academy, got the 10 seed. Congratulations to them. It's awesome. They got to go on the road to play a very tough Las Lomas team, the 7 seed. Sonoma Academy got the 3 seed. They host Arroyo. And Hoopa Valley, the 6 seed, hosts Tamalpais. So Coach Lynette and Tam got to go all the way up to Hoopa. That's another far drive for the 6-11 game. That's tomorrow night. Good luck to all of our Marin teams there. Division 5, no Marin teams, but Urban, a Bay Counties League team, got the 4 seed for Division 5. So congratulations to them. They play against Gateway. Cloverdale is the 1 seed. They get the bye. St. Patrick, St. Vincent, a team that my San Domenico squad beat earlier in the season, they got the 2 seed. They also have a bye. So that's the Division 5 bracket. And then Division 6, there's no Marin teams of note, so I'll skip that one. So should be a really fun week. Most of the first round games are either tonight or tomorrow. The open games, again, are Thursday. I'm sure you can check either the Marin IJ. We'll typically have updated schedule on local games you can go check out. Also, if you go to maxpreps.com and search girls basketball playoffs and then kind of drill down by state, go to state of California and then go to North Coast section, you can see all these different brackets so you can follow your favorite teams, or you can just rely on the kindness of your friends, Dave and Duffy, to keep you updated. And we will in between, our day jobs, coaching, scouting, family, every now and then working out, iced coffee, hot coffee, all of our other priorities, walking our dogs. Good luck to all the teams out there. This is a great time of year. And, if you're not in the open division, NCS in the first 2-3 rounds, I guess, you got to win to stay alive. This year, 3 teams from each division in NCS will make it to go to NorCal. So if you make it to the semifinal game, you win, you get in the final, you're automatically into NorCal, even if you lose the final game. If you lose the semifinal game, there is a 3rd place game. You win that, you get an at-large berth into NorCals. That's new this year for all divisions. That's what I got, Duff. Take care and good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. Good stuff. Very thorough, very positive. For the boys, okay. If you want to see the detailed brackets, I suggest going to the CIF page. That is www.cifncs1word.org/sports/basketball/index. You can click through there to the brackets, which are on Max Preps. A little easier to navigate there than Max Preps, the navigation on Max Preps. Much like the algorithms could use a little bit of adjustment and improvement. More on that later, Dave. Okay, I'm going to start Division 6, and there are no Marin teams in Division 6. There are 12 teams, including several Bay Area teams, and they play tomorrow, February 19th, and then February 22nd, and then February 26th. So enough about Division 6. Let's move to Division 5. They play today, first round, and then on Friday, and then semifinals next Tuesday. There are no Marin County teams in Division 5 either, although there are some from the Bay Area, as one might expect, including College Prep, number 4 seed in the upper half of the bracket. Okay. Hey, this is easy, Dave. All right. I'm just looking now at Division 4. They play tomorrow, first round, and then the quarterfinals on February 22nd, semifinals next Wednesday. And again, Dave, where are all the Marin teams? It appears as if under the new structure, they are all moving up. So Division 4, number 1 seed Piedmont. We played them earlier in the year in a scrimmage. Solid team, not quite as strong as they were last year. More about them a little bit later in the program, Dave. Okay. Division 3, we got there finally. Okay. This is a Marin heavy bracket. I expect a pretty good chance that a Marin team will win this, and it could be a situation where you have multiple Marin teams in the semifinals. So number 1 seed Branson runner-up in the MCAL final, lost a tough game at Redwood, missing one of their top players, Heath French, who had been disqualified based on 2 technicals in the prior game, which was a win over Marin Catholic in the semifinals. So Branson, number 1 seed, they were ranked top 15 in the state, top 15 in the NCS. However, due to the NCS rules, they could only go up 2 divisions from Division 5 to Division 3. They potentially will match up against San Marin in their quarterfinal game. So the first round is tonight, Tuesday, and the quarterfinals are Friday, the 21st, and semifinals next week, the 25th. So San Marin is the 9 seed and will be hosted by Livermore. We heard a brief report from a San Marin correspondent, friend of the podcast, and he let us know that San Marin was disappointed not to make the MCAL playoffs. They were right there, had a great win over Branson, were right there in close games and got nudged out at the end by Terralinda and San Rafael. And now they're on the road against Livermore, which is a step up in class and size for San Marin. Livermore had a very heavy schedule, and San Marin a bit undersized, but very skilled. They'll have to shoot the ball well and really execute well to have an opportunity to potentially be hosted by Branson in the quarterfinals. And then on the other side of the draw in Division 3, San Domenico and Tyler Gaffney, they'd play Castro Valley, and then they would play the winner of College Park and Santa Rosa. San Domenico, great regular season, BCL regular season champions, and then met University in the final of the BCL that was at Marin Catholic. Saturday, Gavin Early, their star player, not feeling his best apparently, and University got that win in the BCL tournament championship. So, and above them in the draw and potentially a semifinalist candidate, San Rafael, and they are the number 5 seed playing against Piner. We have a submission from Steve Tornello that will give us more of a preview of that game. The winner of that game will take on the winner of Cornerstone Christian and Mount Eden. That is the 4-13 game. All right, moving right along, Division 2. So we have some familiar teams. So Marin Catholic takes on Head Royce. Head Royce won their tournament championship, and in doing so, went from being a fairly high top of the mark D3 team to being the very bottom D2. Congratulations to you, Head Royce. Not necessarily the reward you're looking for. 8-9 game is Irvin and Rio Carrillo. And then on the next section of the bracket, we have University. That's a good matchup, hosting Terralinda at Kezar. So Terralinda, the number 13 seed, is playing at University. That is tomorrow, Wednesday. And then the quarterfinals of D2 will be on Friday. That is it for Marin County teams in D2 until you get to the bottom of the bracket. And Marin Catholic, the 11 seed, gets to go way up north to take on McKinleyville. A bit of a drive, but Coach Sias says he's pretty encouraged with how the bracket has worked out, and they have a chance potentially to make a run. The winner of that McKinleyville Marin Catholic game will take on the winner of St. Mary's and Heritage. We played Heritage earlier this year in the Bambauer, Dave. Tough team. St. Mary's would have been right there for a Division One bid if they were not a Division 4 team. So the most they could move up was to Division 2. Same with Cardinal Newman. Cardinal Newman is the number 2 seed in this division, as well. Same for Marin Catholic, the number 1 seed. Okay, we're going up to Division 1. So Division 1, the number 2 seed, Redwood, takes on Montgomery. That is tonight at 7 p.m. at Redwood. Redwood has been playing really exceptional basketball. They handled us, Dave, quite easily in the semifinals of MCAL, and then they handled Branson in the final. TT Carr just doing a little bit of everything, and then they have size and they have shooters. They play a bunch of guys off the bench who contribute, and they're going to be a tough out in Division 1. Dave, we're the number 10 seed. We play at Acalanes tonight, 7 p.m. That's a 10-7 game. Acalanes is 21-5 this year, 11-1 in league. They are skilled. They are fast. They are big. They are not beefy. So if we have any chance of competing with them, that may be one advantage, although we don't have beef day, but at least we won't be pushed around too much. I don't anticipate, but they shoot the ball well. They can play inside out. They have a couple brothers, the main brothers, who are really tough. One of them 6'9", one of them 6'5", and they're going to be a tough out for us, and they will be a tough matchup for the winner of the Redwood Montgomery game. So tonight, February 18th, Tuesday, first round, and then quarterfinals, February 21st, and then the semifinals a week from today, February 25th. So, Dave, that covers it for our Marin County teams. It looks to me as if Marin Academy did not qualify, which is unfortunate. They had a pretty solid season. So, disappointed to see that they did not. And then Open, Dave, as I mentioned, we might just still get a submission from our friend of the podcast, Ethan Castle. But in case we don't, just to run the 6 teams that have qualified for the Open, we have California in San Ramon Valley, SRV. They play on Thursday in the first round, 7 p.m. at San Ramon Valley High School. And also on Thursday, we got Liberty, Dublin, number 4 seed, Liberty, the number 5. And for some reason, David's saying that this game is at Liberty. I'll have to double check that. Max Preps might have made a smidge of an error there. And then the winner of Dublin Liberty gets De La Salle, the number 1 seed, and that is going to be on February 26th. And then the winner of San Ramon Valley in California gets Salesian College Preparatory, Salesian for short, Dave, on February 26th. And then the finals, the championship, will be, looks like February 28th and or March 1st. So there you go, Dave, the Open Division. And if we get a submission from Ethan, we'll pop this in at the end of the podcast. All right. Enjoy the games.
Hey, Duffy and Dave. Here is my little update on Marin Catholic girls basketball. We had a tough one last night to Redwood in the MCAL championship. I don't think the score indicated how competitive of a game it was, but Redwood killed us in the fourth quarter. We lost gas, but I'm so extremely proud of my group. They did not stop fighting. They don't stop fighting. This group's gone through a lot of adversity, and that's not an excuse at all. That's just me being really, really proud of everything they've overcome and done, and they've kept their arms around each other and done exactly what I've asked of them. I think they've been as good as they possibly could be. And we're excited the season's not over because I think our best is yet to come. I really do think that. Like I said, a lot of adversity, but the best teams played the best basketball late in the season, and I'm hoping that's what we start doing, and I feel like we are going to do that. So I'm really excited, really proud of my group. We're looking to be a top Division II seed in NCS. You can only move up 2 divisions, so I don't really know what it means, but we can't go Division 1, which is where our ranking would put us, but we're going to go high Division 2 seed. Looks like we'll be playing behind Salesian and Justin Siena. Salesian might go open, we don't know. We're going to compete, win some more games, and hopefully make it to NorCal. It would be good for us to get another chance at Justin Siena. I think that'd be really fun for my group. Familiar team, really good team, well coached, and yeah, super excited for my group. Really, really proud of them. I can't say that enough. They're rock stars, and none of us are ready for this thing to end, so excited to give it our best for the next couple of weeks. All right, thanks, guys.
This is Steve Tornello, official senior correspondent for Run TMC's Central San Rafael District. And I'm here for a preview of a playoff game between the San Rafael Dogs, who are seeded 5th in the NCS Division III playoffs, and the 12th-seeded Pioneer Prospectors out of Santa Rosa. This game will be played Tuesday night at Terralinda High School at 7 o'clock. And this is a rematch from an earlier contest in which the Dogs went into the fourth quarter with a 15-point lead, and everything fell apart. They had 9 turnovers, they got killed on the boards, they stopped being aggressive, and the end result was a 31-10 run by Pioneer in the fourth quarter that gave them a 6-point win. We watched the tape. Everything that happened at quarter seems to be a fixable mistake and have been fixed, but we'll see. This is why we play the games, right? Anyway, this matchup features 2 of the biggest scorers in Northern California. Pioneer's Apollo Pereira and San Rafael's Gio Bravelli are both averaging 24 points a game. And also, the Dogs have Luke Shapiro, who's averaging 20 points a game as well. In the first game, Pereira had 14 fourth-quarter points to help Pioneer race out with that 31-10 fourth quarter, while Gio and Luke Tino for 38 in the loss, and Anthony Tajbash and Asher Urban combined for 13. But, as we've seen time and time again, playoff games like these need secondary players to step up. And when you look at the way Pioneer plays, they love to attack the paint and control the baselines. So let's start there. They've got a senior big, Brendan Walker, who is currently averaging a double-double in the season with 12 points and 10 rebounds. When you watch him play, he's a really good cutter, and he crashes the boards constantly. On the other side, San Rafael sophomore bigs Will Hilly and Wyatt Tornello have really stepped it up since MCAL began, and are combining for 13 points and 15 rebounds a game this season. So who controls the paint will determine who moves ahead to Friday's quarterfinals. One last thing. Historically, games between the Dogs and Pioneer have been tough, scrappy, and down to the wire. Every game has been competitive and tight. And with this also being the NCS playoffs, we expect much of the same. Tuesday night at Terralinda High School, 7 o'clock. Go Dogs.
Okay, Dave, as promised, a constructive critique, some feedback, not a rant, although who knows, once I get going, this could turn into a rant about the new NCS system. And I want to start by saying this is difficult no matter how you do it. The prior system was not perfect by any means. There were matchups early on in NCS divisions that were blowouts. I'm going to go ahead and predict that under competitive equity, there are going to be matchups in early games that are blowouts. And coaches and teams historically have not been happy with how they have landed in NCS, and that continues to be the case. I've heard from multiple of our sources, Dave, that there are aspects of this new system that should be tweaked, that don't make sense currently. And I want to run through 3 specifically, and that starts with algorithms. We are definitely living in an age of algorithms, Dave, and while they are very helpful in many different respects, neither you or I would go on to ChatGPT, and pop something in there and immediately think that whatever the output from the algorithm that appeared on our page was perfect by any means. And if we did, we probably would be in trouble, both professionally and personally. We just did a little cut and paste of that into our email, per se. So same with these algorithms. They are, in my opinion, a good basis for initial evaluation and maybe setting some guardrails in terms of how far a team could move up or down based on their rankings. But common sense needs to be common sense does need to be applied. And my current understanding is that the committee does not have a lot of discretion or very little discretion in terms of moving teams up or down, unless there is a head-to-head matchup. But even then, Dave, on the boys' side, if you look at Doherty Valley versus California, those were the two teams that were vying for the final open spot. Doherty Valley dropped to Division One by, I'm told, 0.3 points in the ranking. So 27.31 to 27.61. California got that spot despite losing to Doherty Valley twice by totals of 29 and 16, including their last game of the season. So I don't know if that came up for discussion, Dave, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. So another example here, Dave, San Rafael, mentioned by our friend Steve Tornello. In one day, they went from 14th in Division 2 to 16th to Division 2, and then 5th in Division 3 without playing a single game. So there were other games that went on, including a critical one with San Domenico, who lost to University in the BCL final. And because San Rafael had previously beat San Domenico's loss dropped San Domenico, which dropped the strength of schedule and the importance of that win for San Rafael. And suddenly they go from being on the road as a low seed in D2 to hosting a home game in D3. Good for them, but seems exceptionally arbitrary to me. All right, that's number one, algorithms. Don't we love our algorithms, Dave? Okay, competitive equity. It shouldn't just be for the playoffs, for the North Coast section. It should encompass the entire season, and there should be an incentive for teams to win those early tournaments, to win their league. They should be playing for something other than potentially moving up and having a more difficult and challenging road game in NCS. I can see in the future some teams perhaps not playing their best players or resting players because of minor injuries early in the season so that they take, a loss or maybe a closer win than they might expect. And so that the ranking doesn't get too high, especially if they're, for example, a D3 team who is looking at playing up to Division One, sort of our situation at Archie. So if they're looking at tweaks, NCS, I would say that rewarding teams that have good regular seasons and giving them home games, at least one home game, might be a tweak rather than giving high seeds to teams who maybe had disappointing seasons and end up dropping a division. A team like Piedmont, 12 and 14, is now the number one seed in Division 4. They're a good team, by the way, and they were missing some players early on, and now they end up with a chance to run the gamut in Division 4. Finally, and this I would say is quite clear to me, there are private schools that under the new system, because they can only go up or down 2 levels, benefit dramatically from this structure. And public schools, especially in the D3 range, are probably the most challenged by the new system. And 2 of our local Marin teams are examples of this. Branson and San Domenico are both Division 3. They are ranked 1 and 2, seeded 1 and 2 in Division 3. I expect both of those teams to make a deep run. I expect both of them to have games that are not close, and competitive equity will likely not be achieved in their games. Both of these teams were ranked above our Archie Williams Falcons in the overall rankings and would have been competitive Division 1 teams. Certainly would be very strong Division 2 teams as well. And Cardinal Newman, powerhouse that has an excellent football program that is able to recruit great athletes, is the number 2 seed in Division 2. They also would be a very competitive Division 1 team. We scrimmaged them earlier this year, Dave, and they definitely knocked us around, beat us by 18, 20 points. And importantly, these teams, Branson, San Domenico, Cardinal Newman, they are recruiting athletes from outside the county And even some of the top county athletes are going to these schools. They're great schools. Don't get me wrong. I'm a private school kid myself, Dave, and I sent my daughter to San Domenico. But they are getting kids from outside the region. It's not a really like-to-like comparison in terms of their recruiting pool. And they're perennially, some of them are perennially good from year over year. San Domenico, of course, gets athletes from across the world. And we love Tyler Gaffney, what he's done with the program. Branson has been super strong, will continue to be strong, and was in the Open last year. So this is no disrespect to their programs, but perhaps a suggestion that they shouldn't be playing Division III if they're that good. All right, Dave, that's what I got. Was it a rant? Probably not. I don't think that was a rant. Some food for thought for the committee for next year.
Hello, Run TMC fans, and hello, Duffy. It's Dave again. Duff, thanks for your thoughts on the NCS process, seedings, the new regime. Certainly some growing pains here, and it'll be interesting to see in the next couple years how this system is refined. I certainly hear what you're saying. Obviously, there are differing viewpoints about how effective this whole reseeding competitive equity thing is. I will say that, it goes a little bit both ways. So, for example, like with our San Domenico boys team, they're playing a team, Castro Valley, who is a Division I school who got bumped down to Division III. So big school, much larger enrollment, playing a very tough conference against good teams. So while I hear you that the private schools can benefit starting from a lower base division and the ability to recruit and pull kids from not just their geographic area is an advantage for private schools. They also obviously are limited by enrollment size and sometimes are playing in leagues that maybe are not as competitive. So a couple different sides to the argument, but in general, I think we will see changes going forward. I assume they'll see how this season works, how the games are. It'll be interesting to see how close are these first round games. If you're seeing a lot of blowouts, then the competitive equity maybe is not working as well. But if you have close games, then that's, I think, ultimately what people want. I'm frankly just focused on trying to win our game tonight and take it one day at a time, as I think most coaches are. It's easy to kind of get ahead of ourselves and look down the road. But I think in life, we all just need to focus on the here and now. As our friend Tyler Gaffney says, be present, be resilient. So that's the focus. Regardless of what happens, this is a fun time of year for these kids. They've worked hard all year, and to get the chance to play in the postseason is a reward. I hope that we get a bunch of fans, parents, students, teachers, everybody out to these games to support these kids. This is a really fun time of year. It's a special energy in these gyms, and I'm just going to drink in the next couple of weeks, as I know you will as well, Duff. Best of luck to everybody out there. Talk soon.
Greetings, Dave. Hello again. You know I couldn't let you have the last word, at least not in this voice memo format. So I'm at the Marin YMCA. They have a nice little outdoor area, product of COVID, turf field, some stationary bikes, lots of weights, a lot of planking opportunities, knock out a plank or two, do some box jumps, look at some film clips for tonight's game. That's what I'm after right now, Dave. However, as I said, sorry, you're not going to get the last word on this one. I want to finish a few thoughts. So, point well taken with regards to Castro Valley and San Domenico. That is a tougher 1-16 matchup than D3 last year. I don't recall who University played, but I'm sure it wasn't a close game. I did look up Castro Valley, though. 11-14, 5-5 in league. Played a pretty tough schedule, had some good wins. Beat Piedmont twice by one each time. Had some pretty lopsided losses, including to Heritage by 30, Alameda by 30. So to me, they seem like a number 16 seed. They played a schedule and performed to the level of a 16 seed. And I would expect San Domenico to handle them, but certainly they have to play the game, and Castro Valley could give them a really good game. But that pairing to me makes sense. Some of the others, not a lot of sense. Like Head Royce getting a 16 seed after winning their league, as I mentioned earlier, Dave. So here's what I am thinking. I'm going to throw this out there. So some tweaks to the system. First of all, algorithms got to improve. It should take into consideration injuries if possible, especially injuries to key players in games early in the season where a team might have had a loss that perhaps they win otherwise. Transfers, this would be easy to do, right? So a team like Redwood, if you look at their ranking, I'm sure if you look at their ranking after TT Carr joined the team, it's much stronger than before. They're probably an open level team. But as far as I know, that was not taken into consideration with their ranking. And then, Dave, you use the rankings as a baseline, but you allow more movement that would allow a team to settle closer to their historical size of the school norm. For example, you take a team that's Division II size, and maybe they're ranked in the top 16, Division I, 14, 15, but you allow that team to go to Division II and have a home game. And then there's a team, the Division I team maybe didn't win their league, and they're ranked in the top few in Division II. You allow them to come back to Division I as a low seed. Seems to make sense and would probably even out any disparity that might exist with regards to the public-private dynamic here. So, puzzle on that, Dave. And I agree with you. You got to focus on today, next game mentality. But there's also some rationale to thinking about this before the games are even played, rather than complaining about it afterwards. I think my opinion about the system will be the same whether we win or lose tonight. And if we were to win tonight, it would be the same if we were to play again Friday, win or lose Friday. Finally, Dave, good luck tonight. I know you're hard on yourself, first year as head coach, and the record might not be what you want it to be, but you have done an amazing job with these girls. I know how much time and effort you put into the team and the relationships, and you have a full-time job. So really amazing job. I am sure these girls will be forever grateful for you. And I do hope that Carly and your seniors enjoy what might be their last home game tonight at San Domenico. Go get them, Dave, and we'll circle back for better or for worse. We'll be talking about basketball again soon. All right, later, buddy.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
Hey, dude, you too must be from Marin.